Amarok Ford, the marriage, it's certainly now ongoing, and I do understand that the plant that we went and filmed the Ford at Silverton, South Africa, is getting ready to prepare itself for the building of the Volkswagen Amarok to be built side by side. Remember, Mazda was also being built side by side. Now we have the new Amarok, Mr. Murigi. What are your thoughts on that? Will the Amarok now gain traction in Africa?
Well, I mean, it was the new kid on the block.
Yes.
They've done a really good job with being the new kid on the block because that was a very comfortable car to drive. What people had not thought about is in terms of reliability. You know, is it a tried and tested platform? Has it done the kind of things that the Ranger was doing, for instance, or the Hilux, or the D-Max? So the things that have a long history of reliability, legendary capability. So people are not really sure about that. So that should be sorted out now when you have that partnership with the Ranger. So what you're taking now is a marriage of very good things. You have the style, because I mean the Amarok was a very nice car to sit inside.
Yes.
It looked good. It was fantastic inside, to be very honest. So you marry that with the underpinnings of the T6 platform for the Ranger, and that is a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned, assuming that they keep the price low.
Yes, that's the thing. You know, price differentiation is so important. That particular segment is so competitive, but I can't wait to see the V6 on that Ranger platform. Remember the Amarok with the V6, it hasn't come to the country yet, but based on the kind of reviews that our colleagues outside the world are doing, I can tell you for a fact that V6 is a monster. We can't wait to have that V6 on the Amarok, and obviously Cars with Big Boy Trev will give you all the lowdown. When it lands here fast, we're going to give you the review courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trev. This is the key to the 2020 Volkswagen Touareg, now available in Kenya. With prices starting at 12.8 million Kenya shillings only, do you think it will take away the crown from the BMW X5, the Porsche Cayenne, and of course the Mercedes GLE? Let's find out now. Let's start with the exterior review of this particular car. Now, as you can see, the brand new Touareg has a new face, new design, and basically it's because Volkswagen has employed the MLB platform that actually is the chassis of this particular car, and also shares this with the Lamborghini Urus, which is an amazing car, the Audi Q8 and Q7, and obviously the Porsche Cayenne. All these cars have one thing in common. It's a chassis that's built for sporty performance and of course a bit of off-roading. Now let's start. Front face. This bold grille, it's now actually vertical. Forget about the curvy ones that you've seen on this particular car. Now it's really vertical, and then you have the big Volkswagen emblem right here. This denotes power and energy, as you can see here, and of course the chrome excerpts on the grille, the slated grille, gives this car that premium look and feel. And obviously, as you can see, you have the rectangular lights with the teardrop cheetah design. These particular headlights have the LED matrix headlights. Now this one actually illuminates the road so well, and it's adaptive as well, so that you're able to drive this car at night and of course at any given situation during dark hours, during past curfew. So let's take a look at the bumper design. As you can see, it's chromed out as well, and of course because of the approach angle, you can see it's quite way up so that you are able to avoid rocks hitting the sump on the ground. And obviously you do have these air vents. Now this is where the magic happens. These are intercoolers because this particular car has a 3-liter V6 supercharged TFSI that actually produces 140 horsepower, and these intercoolers cool the car to ensure that you have enough energy, enough power at any given time. Now let's move on to the side profile. As you can see here, it looks like a Porsche Cayenne or the Audi Q8, and that's because it shares the same platform. Only subtle things that makes this car different. The clean sheet design, the creases on the doors, on the high hip line denotes premiumness, denotes seriousness. Let's move to the back and see. Obviously there's that Volkswagen typical design, as you can see here, and if you look closer, these LED matrix rear lights as well are able to have that rolling signature tune that makes this car look very amazing, especially when you're either on hazard or if you're taking a turn in. And of course you do have that slight drop. It's like a hatchback sort of thing you probably find on a Golf. But the question is, does this car have that grunt? Courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trev, don't touch that dial. Now step inside this particular cabin, posh cabin of the Volkswagen Touareg, and I can tell you for a fact, that is my signature line, that this particular car is so premium, it hurts. Just take a look at the design of this dashboard. There's that rectangular, elongated, flowing design that you have never seen in any car. Not even Audi, who's like the premium of the Volkswagen family, have this kind of design, and that makes it very, very special. Remember, this particular car is the top cream of the Volkswagen family, and you can tell for a fact they've really tried to ensure that it impresses even the most discerning of people. One thing that I have loved, and I think it is the highlight of this particular dashboard, is this massive innovation concept cockpit. This one looks like an A350 Airbus if you've been in a cabin before, and I can tell you that implementation is crazy. It is seamless. You have a 15-inch display, multimedia information display, and you have the tachometer and the speedometer and the instrument binnacle all in one seamless connectivity. Gearbox console over here, you do have cubbyholes and spaces. You can see you can actually place 2 cup holders, even a flask. Obviously, as you can see here on the gearbox cluster, you do have this space age sort of knob that actually denotes the gear shifting. It's a standard gear shift, as you can see. Adjacent to it are the buttons where you can control certain aspects of this car, like start, stop. You do have your hazard, and then the electronic park brake with auto hold, which Merig will explain right later on. The steering wheel, standard Volkswagen, it's stitched leather, soft to the touch, and it has satellite buttons. On the left, you do have cruise control settings. So this particular car has adaptive cruise controls that we'll discuss later. And obviously on the right hand side, you do have the system that connects with this multimedia information system. Paddle shifters come as standard in this particular car, so you can pre-select gears and shift as you feel on sport mode. And obviously you do have the different stocks right here on the side. Seats are very comfortable. As you can see, Big Boy is comfortable. This design is called a rib design, and it is amazing because these seats are heated and cooled, and Merig is going to give us some details after this. And obviously you do have different adjustment, actually with memory settings on the doors over here, so you can actually have 3 settings for 3 different drivers. But before I move to the back, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Merig, who's a resident tech guru. He's going to give us more information about this massive infotainment system that Volkswagen Touareg has, only on cars with Big Boy Trev.
So like Trevor mentioned, this car has what Volkswagen calls the Innovision cockpit. This, of course, now being the Touareg, being the flagship of the brand, is where the technology is going to start, and some buzzer across the entire brand. So let's start now with this Innovision cockpit. It's made up of 2 different displays. The first, of course, now is what they call the digital cockpit. This has digital instruments right in front of the driver to replace now what you usually see with the speedometer and the rev counter, and give you driver information while you're on the go. But the pièce de résistance when it comes to this car is this massive 15-inch infotainment system that sits here on this dash. 15 inches is bigger than the display on most laptops. That's what we are playing with over here. So jumping into the main infotainment display over here, you have a very massive touchscreen, but this touchscreen is very responsive. So just like the phone, using the stuff that you're very used to, you can actually just touch with 1 finger. You can use 2 fingers to scroll back and forth, and then you can also press and hold so that you can change certain functions. So interacting with this is something very familiar. If you have a mobile phone, it's something that you're used to. The first thing that you manage through here is actually the seats. So the seats are heated as well as being cooled, and you can actually individually decide whether you want the top of the seat or the bottom of the seat to be heated or cooled, as well as change some of the settings around the bolsters to make sure you get a good fit. In addition to that, the air conditioning is also managed on this screen itself, so you can actually raise the temperature or lower the temperature on this 4-zone climate control system. So you can actually have a different temperature for the driver, the passenger, and each of the rear seats on this car. So that is the pinnacle of technology with this car. So in addition to this, you are also able to manage some of the driver assistance systems in this car. Now on a higher spec version, some of these cars will come, of course, now with a night vision system, and you can actually see that through there. You also have the active matrix LED system and a camera that can actually read street signs. So all of this helps you to manage that and give you that information in a way that's easy for you to understand and keep you on the road paying attention to what's happening on the road. One other thing that you can manage through this car, of course, is your navigation and pairing with your phone. This car actually has access to both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which allows you now to set up your phone and mirror the screen of your phone on this device itself with this massive 15-inch screen. So you can actually have Google Maps here, set up your location, you can actually answer and receive calls, you can look at your texts, you can basically interact with this just like you interact with any other piece of technology in the world. So this is a fantastic display for a fantastic car. This InnoVision cockpit is one half of what this car has to offer. So this is the technology, but because this is a flagship, there is also comfort to think about. So let's check out the back of this car to see what it has to offer in terms of comfort. Coming round to the back of the Volkswagen Touareg, and there is a lot of space in this car. This seat is set to Trevor's driving position. He's 6'1", and there is ample space for me over here. Lots of space for my legs, my knees, and my feet over here. This car has 4-zone climate control, which means that every passenger, front and rear, left and right, can select their own temperature. So over here now, I actually have controls for the temperature and the speed at which the vents are coming out. There are vents over here, there are vents at the top here, so you can keep cool or keep warm as much as you want. So these seats actually recline, so on a long trip you can actually lay back and relax. And in addition to that, they actually also slide forward and back, so you can prioritize whether you want more space for passengers or for goods in the boot. Now in terms of space, there's loads of space available with side pockets that are big enough to hold a 1-liter bottle, as well as drink holders over here. As this is a family car and you want to make sure everybody in your family is safe, there are ISOFIX points for child seats at the back here. So let's go to the boot and just see how much this Volkswagen has to offer in terms of additional space. Coming around to the back of the Touareg, and one of the things I really love about this automated tailgate is that as long as I have the key in my pocket, all I do is wave my foot over here and it will open by itself. It opens to reveal a massive space, 910 liters of capacity over here. And like I mentioned earlier, you can actually push the seats at the back to the front or to the back to make sure you have either more space for the staff at the back or more space for your passengers up there. If at any point you feel that you need more space for your luggage at the back here, you can pull on these two toggles and the seats will lay flat and give you additional space within the boot. There are 12-volt sockets over here and hooks to make sure that you keep all your shopping and anything that you want to carry in check. Under here, we have a space saver spare tire and a tire repair kit to make sure that you keep moving in the event that you have a puncture. So let's take this on the road and see what that big V6 has to offer.
So guys, today we're driving this particular car, the Volkswagen Touareg. It's in 3rd generation, and I can tell you that Volkswagen have done enough because this is the pinnacle of the Volkswagen family. Over 1 million Touaregs already built across the world since 2003. Now in this derivative on the Volkswagen, I can tell you that they have done enough. So what's up front? For Kenya, we only get the petrol V6 3-liter petrol TFSI. It produces 340 horsepower or 250 kilowatts of raw power and 450 newton meters of torque. That when you decide just to, put your foot down almost in this manner like this, listen to the way it reacts. Jesus! It pulls and it accelerates from 0 to 100 in exactly 5.9 seconds. So guys, we're gonna do a launch. So we're just trying to see how much power this particular car has. Put it on sport mode. I'm gonna launch it now in 3, 2. Are you ready? And I just have it up all the 2,000, 3,000, and go! Yeah! Wow! 60, 80, 90, 100. And I can tell you, I think you've done it at the 6 seconds. Now all that power is crazy. The performance is courtesy of the variable geometry travel that adds boost from very low RPMs to give you that maximum satisfaction. Of course, the gear shifts are very fast, courtesy of a ZF 8-speed gearbox. Let's talk about the handling. Obviously, you do have the ability to have air suspension on the higher spec models, but this one has standard coil and shock setup, but its adaptive dampers helps you become stable on cruising mode. So obviously it does the vehicle by around 15 millimeters when you put it on sport mode or dynamic mode, and makes this car very stable on the highway. So even now, you can drive it aggressive. It's crazy. And also you do have 4-wheel steering, which comes as standard. 4-wheel steering is very good for added stability. During low speed, it helps you reduce the turning circle. During high speed maneuvers like this one, it actually turns in sync with the front wheels, so that you're able to have added stability even on sharp curves, just like now we're just about to get into one. And on slow moving curves, it turns counterclockwise with the front wheels, so that you're able to reduce the turning distance of the vehicle. But the true question remains, is all that power you need to stop safely? Now, this particular car has a mix of active and passive safety features, including rear traffic alert. You do have lane departure assist, cross traffic alert. You do have adaptive cruise control, and in case all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the 8 airbags that are strewn across the cabin. You can rely on the 5-star safety rating of this passenger cell, and of course, seatbelt keep you and your family safe from harm's way. But we need to link up with Mr. Murigi, because this particular car is an SUV, sport utility vehicle. We want to find out if the 4Motion works, if the toss and differential works. Let's join Mr. Murigi as we go off-road with the Volkswagen Touareg.
So Trevor has taken you through what this car can do when it's on tarmac, but it's important to remember that this has the Volkswagen 4Motion 4-wheel drive system with a toss and differential, and it has the same 8-speed ZF gearbox that's in the Volkswagen Amarok. So what we've done right now, we've turned off the tarmac, and we are on a track that should simulate what an owner of a car like this should be doing. One thing to note is that although the car we are driving right now has steel suspension, it's possible to get the Touareg with air suspension that should raise the car by 70 millimeters. The effect of that is that it improves the approach angle, the departure angle, as well as the breakover angle for when you're doing some serious off-roading. So 4Motion by VW, same system that's in the Volkswagen Amarok. Let's see how it works in the Touareg. Now, the fact that this is a powerful engine allows it to do what it's doing right now, which is basically creeping through the course that we have. We also have our parking sensors on, and that's allowing us now to see how close you are to some of the obstacles you have around here. This is basically effectively like a Swiss Army knife. It needs to be able to do well when it's off the road, and it has to be able to drive fantastically when it's on the road. So now that we know what it can do, let's check out value for money.
So guys, you've just tested the Volkswagen Touareg, and I can tell you the Wolfsburg is such an amazing vehicle. But before we get into the pricing, who are the key rivals that rival this particular car?
Now it gets very interesting because there's a lot of rivalry within the family.
Yes.
So of course this is the flagship of the Volkswagen brand, but not the Volkswagen group.
Yes.
So this has rivals, of course, now from the Porsche Cayenne, which is within the Volkswagen family, and the Audi Q7. Looking outside, you're looking at the BMW X5, the Land Rover Discovery, and the Mercedes GLE, which is also sold by DTW.
Wow. And how much does it cost right now if I wanted this car?
So prices start from 12.8 million. Remember that this is a very well-spec'd car to begin with, but you can add certain things like the air suspension and the like. But we're looking at prices starting from 12.8 million shillings.
Now it also comes with a 2-year unlimited warranty courtesy of DTW, and you can rely on the extensive network across the country. But our value for money proposition today comes from this particular pricing. Now, if you're in the second-hand car market and you're looking into buying an SUV and you have a loose 12 million, Mr. Murigi, would you advise somebody to pick the Orientals vis-a-vis this?
I mean, the value that you're getting here, because Volkswagen had a very tough job over here. This thing has to be a jack of all trades and a master of all.
Yes.
Because it needs to be able to be comfortable on the road, it needs to be able to be capable off the road. It has a lot of space. It's really full of technology. That screen is not something that I've seen on any other car outside of maybe a Tesla, that size. It's bigger than your average laptop at 15 inches. And all the technology in this car is working for you as a driver, for you as a passenger, and I've not seen a combination of these features and this comfort at this price, honestly, even within the new car market itself.
Wow, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, don't hesitate to write to us on social media handles below, and we'll get back to you next week. If you have an amazing vehicle you want us to review also, hit us up on our social media handles and we'll get back to you and see if we can also review that. Signing out, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Mirigi.
Drive safe.
Be safe.